Hello, this is News 6 at 6:30, getting results. Thank you for joining us here live on News 6 Plus. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
Glad you're with us tonight. I'm Matt Austin. Solar power, grave discoveries, and socially distanced chickens. That's just some of what you can expect tonight. But first, the temps are going to drop this evening.
They sure are. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas joins us now. But keep in mind, Jonathan, we're waiting for that launch of the Starship, which might cut into your weather time.
Oh, actually, let's go to the launch right now.
Out of Boca Chica, Texas.
20 seconds out. This is the big Starship, and they're supposed to be taking the video right now, but they're not, which is worrying me. Okay, let's listen in. Oh, yeah.
Well, that's a good view.
Well, if that wasn't good timing. Okay, here we are. This is the Starship just firing up there in Boca Chica.
This is the thing they hope will one day take us to the range.
A little over 40 seconds into the flight, we are seeing 33 out of 33 Raptor engines ignited. Boosters pushing us downrange over the Gulf. Next milestone coming up in just under 10 seconds is going to be max Q, that max aerodynamic pressure.
Max Q.
All right, so we're through max Q. That's the heaviest stresses it's kind of seeing on the way up. Wow, that was pretty incredible.
I'm still recovering. That was amazing. Beautiful views of the vehicle on ascent, pitching downrange away from the launch tower.
Next thing coming up is hot staging. So we're going to look for 6 engines to ignite on ship while we're still attached to the top of the booster. We'll see all but those 3 center engines shut down on booster.
We're hearing the initial call that we are go for booster catch back here at the launch tower. Coming up now on hot staging, the ship's engines will ignite while still attached to the Super Heavy booster, and also while Super Heavy booster will still be under power itself. The clamps holding the 2 stages together are going to release, and Starship second stage engines will
Booster engine cut off. Ship engine startup. Stage separation. Boost back burn startup.
There we go. Ship engines, all 6 Raptors ignited. We're doing that boost back burn. Looks like we got 11 of the 13 that we command for that, so that's going to start sending the booster back. We are still go for booster return, even with 2 Raptors out during that boost back. We can do a full duration one. But looks like we got a ship, 6 engines heading into space, and then we got a booster hopefully on our way back to Starbase. How's everything going in Hawthorne, Chris?
Everything is looking good. The crowd eagerly followed that ascent and now watching the booster coming back. So as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen here, that is ship continuing. That's a great view of ship continuing on its way to space. They're looking, that's inside the camera, inside the aft skirt, looking at the Raptor vacuum and the sea level engines. The sea level ones there in the center of your screen under our T+ clock. You can see our boost back burn. We're down to 3 engines on the boost back burn. And you can see ship on the right-hand side of that telemetry with 6 engines lit, continuing its ascent to orbit, already over 100 kilometers in altitude. The booster 87 kilometers in altitude and continuing its trek right now back to the landing site and catch site. There's a shutdown. And we just heard a good call out for boost back shutdown. The next thing we should see on our screen is the separation of the hot stage from the Super Heavy booster. We jettisoned that because we do not need it for the landing, but on future iterations of the Super Heavy, that hot stage ring will be incorporated into the booster and we will get it back. But for today, you can see it on the right-hand side of your screen there, just separating off from the right-hand side of the booster. You can also see the booster doing its liquid oxygen dump there, which is exactly what we would expect for it to do as the booster gets itself configured for the landing here. Now, meanwhile, Starship will continue to coast after it reaches orbit for about 40 minutes or so up to an altitude of 214 kilometers, but it's still got a ways to go there, currently accelerating past 7,500 kilometers per hour there in velocity. And just look at those great views of the booster coming back. The Gulf coastline there just looks absolutely gorgeous.
Starship is on a nominal trajectory.
And there we hear nominal trajectories all around. And Dan and Kate, we're at 5 minutes, 15 seconds here into the flight. Everything looking good for the Super Heavy and for Starship today. What's it like there at Starbase as we get ready to catch?
It was incredible, Chris, to be able to see the mock diamonds with my own eyes. That was amazing. We are standing by for return of booster back to the launch tower. We have heard that we are go for the catch of the booster.
Yeah, this coming from one of our long-range tracking cameras, we're able to see the hot stage separate and fly away. So coming up in just about 30 seconds, we're going to look for the landing burn. We're going to command those 13 inner and middle ring engines to turn on. 13 initially, they bleed off all of that velocity as we're slowing down from supersonic speeds, eventually moding down to only 3 engines for that precision flight into the tower.
Right now, booster using its 4 hypersonic grid fins to help guide itself through this atmospheric entry back for its precision landing at the launch site. Once again, we're going to ignite first the center 13 engines. We should see that coming up here momentarily.
Engines in startup.
This is going to come down to 3 engines as the booster slows down for its landing. And we just heard the sonic boom. What an incredible sight to see the Super Heavy booster gliding down into the chopstick arms once again.
Stuck the landing.
Wow. That will never get old.
That's
All right.
crazy.
That was
That-
so
12 out of 13
money.
light for that
Perfect.
landing burn. Booster
It's better
Perfection.
than the last one. We said it was a bit of
With that
a. They
final
did it.
precision
It was
burn on the
amazing, and they
free
rocked.
I mean, this is
one,
nothing but net.
It was
Right-
a
right there.
perfect. It came in a little cockeyed,
A little wonky,
and then
yeah,
it straightened itself out perfectly.
Oh my goodness. I cannot get enough of that. This is, if you're just joining us, you've been watching the launch of SpaceX's Starship, that giant rocket. It's like they launched a skyscraper.
That's
and these so
exactly what
big.
it's like. And they bring it back down in about
Yeah.
5 minutes, catch it perfectly.
Unbelievable.
And they're just getting better and better at it. Jonathan
perfected
Kagas.
it.
It's a modern piece of magic, is what it feels like.
It is.
Come on.
That's what
Standing
they get.
ovation. I'm already standing. So can't really
Sit.
get my, I'll sit down to express my excitement. Hey, we have some excitement here if you like the cooler weather. Temperatures today got back to the upper 60s to around 70. Now tonight is going to be chilly. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we're going to take you neighborhood by neighborhood and talk about how cold it gets. Some of us are going to flirt with the 30s. Highs on Friday back to the mid 70s, and then we surge back to the low to mid 80s over the weekend. Rain chances do go up. I'll show you that next system as well that could threaten the back half of the Arnold Palmer Invitational as well in a few minutes. Behind that system, we do cool back down again. Not as chilly, though, as what we're going to wake up to tomorrow. But you see those rain chances continue on Sunday. Yet another system late next work week will crank up the wind once again. We're going to have all this in more detail and, again, take you into your community and talk about that chilly morning tomorrow, guys, coming up in a few minutes.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jonathan. Well, here in Central Florida, we see all the signs of modern growth, but most of us have no idea about the history right under our feet. One of our News 6 viewers reached out to us about a part of Seminole County that has disappeared through the decades. A cemetery mostly hidden from view, but rich in history for the Black community. News 6 reporter Catherine Silver got a tour of the area and explored the ghost town of Markham Woods. Head over to clickorlando.com to join us for this really incredible journey. And I'm so glad she was able to go and figure out where it is, because it disappeared from the face of the earth, right? But now they're preserving it.
And it's fascinating because lots of people talk about that Markham Woods corridor area,
Yeah.
and that's
It's a real
not
place.
what you expect.
No.
Is that cemetery there. Fascinating stuff. Well, the debate on using solar panels to save energy costs has been discussed and debated ad nauseum, but Orange County says it saves taxpayers thousands of dollars, and they can prove it. For example, it takes a lot of energy to power the Northwest Water Reclamation Facility, which treats the water to be reused for things like watering your lawn. If you think your electric bill is high, theirs gets up to $100 grand per month.
Wow.
And that's taxpayer dollars. So here's where solar power comes in. Orange County gets credits from solar installations for that power that plant there, and has pledged to try to use 100% renewable energy by 2035. And they told us they were saving up to $400,000 every month. Now, it took
That's
a $4 million investment.
Yeah.
But
at
it won't
some
take
point
too
it's gotta
long to
pay
get
off.
that back.
Yeah, exactly. And here in the Sunshine State, what do we have a lot, an abundance of?
I think you're going to say sunshine.
Probably. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to vaccinate or not to vaccinate, it's a debate that plays out ever so often and is highlighted now with Florida's first measles case in years.
The case is tied to a high school student in Miami-Dade. Dr. Vincent Hsu has more than 20 years of experience with infectious diseases. He shared with News 6 the recommended 2 doses of the measles shot when you were a kid will still work in your body today. That's because the disease hasn't changed or mutated, unlike other diseases like the flu. So yeah, I've often wondered that as well. Do they change the concoction over the years or not? But apparently it's just
Yeah, I don't
good.
have to worry about, I had the measles as a kid.
You did.
Everyone in my family had the chicken pox at the same time. I did not get it. A week later, I got the measles. They claim I am not related to them.
I'm just going to sit a little farther over here.
True
if you don't
story.
mind.
Stay over there too. Well, smaller farms mean fewer eggs, but also it means socially distanced chickens.
So the advantage is giving fancy eggs during the bird flu nightmare. We'll tell you more about that.
You're watching News 6 at 6:30, live on News 6 Plus. We're getting results in Geneva, Fruitland Park, and all of Central Florida. We'll be right back.
Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Well, the spirits business could be feeling the burn of President Donald Trump's new tariffs.
Yeah, big name whiskey distillers like Jack Daniels could be in for a rough ride, and that does not include how tequila could be impacted. In 2023, the United States imported $4.6 billion of tequila from Mexico and imported more than $500 million worth of whiskey from Canada. The Distilled Spirits Council tracks this kind of information and notes Canada and Mexico were also the second and third largest importers of U.S. liquor in 2023, behind the European Union. The impact on states is also in the air. For example, the whiskey industry contributed roughly $3.4 billion to Tennessee's economy in 2022.
How do you
That's
think
a
you get
lot
on
of
the
spirit.
Distilled Spirits Council?
I think you know
It
how.
sounds like
I mean, it's a highly coveted spot, I
it
would
sounds like you're
imagine.
using Ouija boards or something. Wild stuff.
Well, they
but
know what they're talking about.
It'll be interesting. That is a big money operation there. Well, are socially distanced chickens laying more affordable eggs? It's a sentence I never thought I'd say. It's a trend being noticed by economists, though, looking at data from grocery stores and suppliers. Commercially produced eggs at mega farms, where chickens are crammed into those tight spaces, are the biggest victims of bird flu. If even one chicken tests positive for the virus, the whole flock, they're put down. While inflation has affected everybody, smaller farms have been able to keep prices pretty steady in comparison to the big brands. They might want to check if the fancy eggs end up cheaper than the standard dozen at the grocery store. I noticed this the other day. I went out to a local egg producer. He's in Kissimmee, and he started off charging $5 per dozen. And he's pretty upset because he's had to go up to $8. Now, you can find $10 eggs at the grocery store,
sure.
and this guy is pasture-raised, local, and they're so fresh you don't even have to stick them in the fridge.
No, you keep them on your counter because
Yeah.
they're already, when they lay them, they're protected.
For $8.
That's-
So that makes you wonder. You would think it'd be more
What's
expensive
happening?
at his
I
operation.
just get upset because the people in the store where I go, they start to put together their own dozen, and they.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
And then
so
there's
you'll
one
find-
dozen with 10 cracked eggs in there.
I digress.
Don't be that
A
person.
new report says exercise can make all the difference when it comes to fighting cancer. The British Medical Journal's Research Foundation, an association between strength training and cardio fitness, and a combination of the two lowered the risk of death for cancer patients by 46%. Trainers note exercise can help build strength and muscle mass and lower recovery times from chemotherapy and dialysis. Trainers are not discounting the inspiration exercise can provide as well to accomplish goals and staying committed to a journey, whether that's looking good for the beach or conquering cancer. There's nothing that lifting weights and exercising cannot cure, it seems like, because you need the muscle strength and the muscle mass as you get older.
Longevity, they've already proven.
That's what they say. The
that is
more
very
muscle
important.
mass you have, the
Yeah.
healthier you are and the longer you live.
Just for my mental state, I have
Yeah.
to pick up heavy things. It's a rule. I was talking to one of my daughters the other day, telling her she needs to do more strength training.
Yeah.
She always wants to go and do like the stair climber or like.
Because the women don't want to bulk up.
Yeah,
But that's a myth.
They only want, to have a butt, I guess, is the only thing. But she acts like she's going to be a bodybuilder
No.
if she
That's
works
gonna
out
take
one time.
a lot more commitment
yeah,
than that.
It takes some time.
And they work on more than their butts. Just saying. We're hitting the road to Oviedo. If you live or work in that community, let us know what makes it so special or have any concerns that you want us to look into. Head to clickorlando.com/hitstheroad to share your story. Stay with us. More to come after the break.
That's all I work on at the gym is my butt. All right, taking a live look at our launch credit union this is out in Port Canaveral. Come on, look at that. Is
Are
that
we
a
already
beautiful
back?
night?
I tossed a break
I know. I don't know why you tossed a break.
because it said so right there. Anyway, we're going to check in with the
I
forecast
don't think
now.
it said that anywhere.
It did. But meteorologist Jonathan Kegas is here now. Jonathan, I'm sorry I tried
That's
to
a
steal
pretty
your
shot,
time
Jonathan.
for the forecast.
Did you see? I just kind of like morphed on
Yeah,
the
that was
screen
cool.
there. It's okay. The Rocket already stole my thunder one, so Key, just go. The Rocket was cool. Ginger's cool too. So either the Rocket or Ginger can steal at any time. All right, you still see the breeze. Look at this shot. If you're not looking at your TV set right now or your phone, the gorgeous color in the sky. This is a very picturesque Florida sunset. Live look with our Launch Credit Union camera tonight. Still have that breeze out there. We are going to keep that with us for the rest of the evening. It will gradually come down through the overnight. and then we will see things kind of chill out a little bit tomorrow. 68 degrees, the current temperature, and chill out is going to be a literal sense as well, as we have some temperatures going to be in the 30s potentially for some of us in Central Florida. Now, there's the improvement in the wind department tomorrow. Gusts only at about 10 miles an hour tomorrow. That's nothing compared to where we've been. But then gradually over the weekend, we start to increase the wind just a little bit. That's going to be out ahead of our next storm system that rolls into Central Florida late Saturday night and then especially into Sunday. Right now, the chill is already on. 55 in Wildwood, 61 degrees in Ocala, Titusville. Good evening. We're back to around 70. Palm Bay and West Melbourne, we're back to the 60s as well, upper 60s, more like the upper 60s in Oviedo. Now here's a look at your pinpoint, accurate forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by the Florida Lottery.
All right, I hope you didn't put the winter jacket away. Some of you may need it tomorrow, especially Marion County. Look at this, Denellen, we're going to be flirting with the 30s. Same deal in Ocala. We're at 43 tomorrow morning. In the Villages, 47 in Orlando. Palm Bay, we are at 44. Groveland, we're checking in tomorrow at 44 as well with a few passing clouds. Again, most of us will wake up to a ton of sunshine. That breeze will still be there a little bit early, so it might feel a little cooler than it actually is. Nonetheless, gorgeous tomorrow afternoon. I think tomorrow and Saturday are going to be your best days of the next couple to head out to the Arnold Palmer Invitational if you are heading in that direction. Round 2, of course, tomorrow. 40s and 50s to start. That's 8 o'clock. Sunshine dominant, though, throughout the day. That helps to get us back into the mid to upper 70s by the latter stages of the afternoon. Then we'll focus on the next system coming through. It's going to be another one rolling across the North Gulf Coast. We'll see a few scattered showers try to sneak in early on Sunday. I do think the better opportunity for a few showers, though, comes later on in the afternoon. So I'm cautiously optimistic that most of the final round of the tournament going to be played without any issue. That's 8 o'clock on your Sunday evening with a few showers trying to sneak in from northwest to southeast. And then we'll get in on some drier and cooler air. Pinpoint accurate 7-day forecast. Again, most of us start off in the 40s. A few upper 30s sneak in, though, northwest of I-4. Gorgeous weekend. Saturday, we're back to the lower 80s. At least Saturday is going to be very nice. I think most of Sunday pretty good, too, at least mainly on the drier side, although clouds will go back on the increase. Temperatures back to the middle 80s. And then there's that cooler air spilling in behind that system. We're in the low 70s on Monday. It's upper 70s on Tuesday. And then that next system, we showed you the wind with that other one. 82 on Thursday with a 20% shot for rain, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you.
All right, Kent. So now we're going to toss to break. And it was no one's fault earlier, but the producer wrote it in there. He says he's sorry. We'll be right back.
It was her fault.
Well, Intuitive Machines tried again to land its lunar lander on the surface of the moon.
The lander touched down at 12:30 this afternoon, but crews in Houston lost contact with it. So for a while, nobody knew if it landed right side up or if it tipped over on its side again. Now we know. While IM is making sure it looks like it might have landed correctly, the company made history this time last year when their lander named Odysseus touched down on the moon's surface, the first private company to ever get something on the surface, albeit sideways.
It's fine. Space is hard. It was the first American spacecraft to land on the moon since the Apollo 17 mission. That was in 1972. Odysseus tipped over and lost power a few days later. And I feel like the third time they launch it, they're going to get it right, because they tried it before and it didn't quite work. But it sent back some. Do you guys not think that?
No, I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think that's a lot of money to tip over a little ship on the surface.
We're going to have to find another place to live at some point, so we got to figure out how to get there.
If we're relying on
they're not the only ones
this
doing
crew,
it.
I don't know.
They got there.
It's more than I
Hey,
could do.
SpaceX is blowing up rockets, so
Yeah,
many,
why not?
many
This
years
is true,
ago,
and now they're catching them with chopsticks.
Crazy.
That's what I
Billy
get
was
for
good.
being
It's all
it.
happened during the show, and you were there for it. Hey, thank you for
Witnessing
watching
history.
News 6 at 6:30. Stream News 6 online anytime on our News 6 Plus Smart TV app.
Remember, we break news right here. ClickOrlando.com. We'll see you tonight at 11 o'clock.
Endometriosis affects up to 10% of women in the U.S. It can be very painful, and it can have a major impact on fertility. Joining us now to discuss is Dr. Jed Shorts from the Orlando Health Women's Institute. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure, an honor.
So let's start at the beginning. What is endometriosis, and who does it affect?
So endometriosis is a chronic inflammatory condition that roughly affects up to 10% of the reproductive age female population. And it's a common reason for pelvic pain, which occurs with a woman's menstrual cycle, often outside of their cycle, causing infertility and difficulty for some women to get pregnant.
So once you think, you know what, this isn't normal, I'm gonna go check this out and see what's going on, how do you diagnose endometriosis?
It's a tough condition to often diagnose, and I think that's why for so long, for so many women, it goes undiagnosed. One of the things that we use is pelvic ultrasound, but the tried and true, we say, diagnosis is often at the time of surgery. So it is a surgical diagnosis where at the time of surgery, we can do something called laparoscopy, where we look inside the belly with small incisions. We can see the condition, we can see the endometriosis disease, and the benefit there is it is often therapeutic as well, in that we can excise, or we say resect, endometriosis disease.
When a patient has tried everything else and you've determined that basically surgery is the right course of action for her endometriosis, what happens?
Well, we talk about what's going to be the right surgery for them, whether it be something more definitive, or if we're talking from a fertility standpoint. When they come in for surgery, we're able to do it through robotic and laparoscopic surgery. So what happens is we make several small incisions on the belly, and then we're able to place instruments within the abdomen and operate using those instruments to ultimately achieve what the goal of surgery is.
And many times your patient can go home the same day.
They can go home the same day. A lot of patients have a much quicker recovery, that they're able to get back to their daily activities quicker, get back to their life quicker. And especially with these techniques, it decreases the risk for certain things that we think about, like infections and blood loss, and really yields, we find, better outcomes, long-term outcomes. It's just a world of difference. They're finally pain-free. They can get back to taking care of their loved ones, their spouse, their children, and they'll often say their life was saved from that surgery.
And they get to bring a beautiful baby into the world. It's another reason to choose well with Orlando Health. And if you would like more information, you can visit orlandohealth.com/women.